Friday morning. America's First News continues on this 22nd day of September. The weekend is upon us. No doubt some of you have plans to sit down and binge watch some of your favorite shows. In fact, appointment television is actually giving way to more on-demand streaming options. Binge watching now more popular than ever, but uninterrupted access to your favorite shows could channel a host of issues. That according to the American Academy of Sleep Medicine. Here to discuss, Dr. David Henderson is a board-certified psychiatrist. He's also the owner of Four Stones Collaborative Group in Dallas. Dr. Henderson, thank you for joining us here on America's First News.
Thanks so much for having me.
I have to tell you, I had plans to do this binge watch this weekend. What does this study say? What does binge watching do to us?
Well, basically the idea is when you sit down to watch a television show, it's entertainment. And anytime we do anything entertaining, stimulating, there's a surge of dopamine that we experience in our brain. The problem with binge watching is that it really becomes like an addiction. And just like chemical substances that we put in our body, over time, that rise in dopamine, once we've removed the stimulus or the entertainment, it creates a drop in dopamine that causes us feeling depressed. It can make us feel anxious, agitated, tired, fatigued. All of the things that you would see in someone who's struggling with depression can happen when someone is withdrawing from the entertaining experience that they're having. And the other interesting thing about binge watching is that it's things like Netflix, for example. It's set up such that you don't have to regulate the watching. If anybody's ever watched their favorite show on Netflix, they know that once the first episode is over, there's a 3-second period until the next episode plays.
Yeah.
And if you're not thinking about it, you can just watch it and watch it and watch it. And a lot of people staying up until late hours of the night, it throws off their sleep schedule, which sleep is essential to our mental health. And over time, this can just have a very damaging effect on our emotions.
Yeah, I'm guilty as charged. House of Cards, Stranger Things, you name it. In fact, I was looking forward to Stranger Things. So let me ask you this. How can we maybe get a handle on it? How can we regulate it?
Well, the first thing I think that needs to happen is we need to be sort of brutally honest with ourselves and ask us, what is the binge watching doing for us? What is the actual reward that we're receiving? And, the hard thing is you get to an end of a series or the end of the show, it's over, and there's really nothing to show for it of value except that you've consumed passively all of this entertainment. So the idea is to be honest with yourself about why am I doing this? What is the need that's being fulfilled? And then look at other options that might fill that need. So sometimes people use television as a means of escaping other more challenging, difficult forms of entertainment, things that are going to require physical activity, mental activity, emotional and relational experiences. So shifting some of that and creating more of a balanced lifestyle, planning ahead. So, for example, this weekend is coming around. Make some plans with some friends. Make plans and put it on your schedule to go exercise. Make plans to read. Go to the bookstore and get a book. Read the book before you watch the series. These are the kinds of things that can help stimulate your brain's activity, exercise it like you would your body elsewhere, and it gives you that strength so that when you finish the activity, it's actually producing something physically of value, mentally of value, emotionally of value in your life.
If you still plan on binge watching, because I know a lot of people will take 2-3 hours out of their day on a weekend to go see a movie, is there a recommended time allotment maybe? Say, okay, I'll allow maybe this many episodes?
I think it depends on the person, but certainly anything more than 2 hours, the length of a full feature film, if you're spending any longer than that, you really have to ask yourself, could I possibly be, addicted to this experience of binge watching? And I tell people, just like I tell clients that I see who have ADHD, for example, when you're studying, make sure you take pauses, take breaks. Don't try to sit down and study for 4 to 6 hours at a time straight, because you really can only be productive for that initial first hour, and then you've got to take a break. You've got to let your mind relax and rest. And I think the same is true for these kinds of activities. If you can take a pause, step away, get up off the couch, move around a bit, it might actually stimulate your mind to say, you know what, I think I've had enough, and move on to something else. But if not, at least you've given your mind and your brain a rest to process what you're seeing, what you're watching, what you're experiencing on TV. And I think that's a healthy option.
Netflix on a tear this year. Shares dipping from a 52-week and all-time high of about $191.50 in July to near $165 a month later. Netflix shares could rise 16% on new subscribers. They obviously have a hit formula on their hands. I'm curious, and we can pontificate, obviously, but do you think they know about this, or anything went into this, went into their formula when they said, we're going to give you 11 episodes of House of Cards at once and see what you do with it?
Well, I can't speak directly to that, but let's look at what we do as humans in our society. Anything that is good, anything that is of value, even things that we need that are essential to our bodies, what do we as humans do? We try to make those things as easily and readily accessible as possible in the quickest, cheapest fashion. So, for example, take food. We need sustenance. We need, that in order to survive. But what do? We create Krispy Kreme donuts that we can go and get this rush of sugar, this immediate surge for very little cost. But the problem with doing that is that it is superficial. It's not lasting. It's not sustainable. Other things, for example, relationships, the sense of connection that we so yearn for and desire as humans. We create Facebook and Instagram so that we have this quick and readily, easy way of feeling connected with other people. And yet, again, it's superficial. It's not deep. There's no pain associated with it, and you need friction and conflict sometimes to go deeper in your relationships. And I think Netflix has created a formula for our way of experiencing entertainment and living vicariously through the shows. Who wants to go climb a mountain anymore or run a Spartan race when they can watch something like that on TV and live vicariously through the characters?
Dr. David Henderson, board-certified psychiatrist. The website is fourstonesgroup.com. Dr. Henderson, thank you for your time this morning on America's First News.
Thanks so much for having me.
All right, a sobering segment there for those of you planning on doing any binge watching this weekend. You've got America's First News.